Hi, my name is Rod Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Rod Khleif, and I'm thrilled you're here. And I know you're going to enjoy the interview that we're going to have today because he's a kindred spirit as it comes to mindset and psychology. The gentleman we're interviewing today is Chris Roberts from Sterling Rhino Capital. And Chris is an LP in over 2,000 doors, like 2,300, GP in 250 doors. Done a lot of single family work, has an incredible story. So very, very excited to get into this. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks, Rod. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with the audience.
Oh, absolutely. So let's start with your story. I can't wait to hear it myself. So take it away, my friend.
Sure. Well, I will make it short, I promise. And oftentimes people say that and they don't. But it starts out at a really young age, being on my own, 15 years old. Grew up in Southern California, dealing with being jumped by gangs and struggling. And mom was 15 when she had me. So just really kind of had to figure things out, had to just survive, and was fortunate enough about the age of 18 to come across a mentor who really, truly taught me the value of hard work and grinding and no excuses. And even if you make mistakes, just struggle through it and learn from it. And that sort of set the foundation for me to go out and eventually start a sales and marketing career, and then build other businesses from there. And then fortunately, I came across the whole real estate platform and started investing early enough. And that's my short story, but very humble beginnings and very, very grateful to have the opportunities I have today.
Yeah. So talk about some of the struggles you had. I mean, wow, mom was 15. Holy cow. Yeah. I mean, did you talk about some of the struggles? I mean, people have heard my story with hand-me-down clothes till I was in junior high school and things of that nature. What did you have to suffer through?
Yeah, you know, Rod, it's interesting. I lived on a lot of different sofas, family members. Wow. Dad wasn't around a whole lot, so we just didn't really have a support system, and not a huge family. Food stamps were regular, sugar bread for dessert. I mean, just the grind. And at the time, I didn't know it was a grind. I just noticed that friends and family had some of them, the white picket fences and the places that the pools. And I thought, wow, I mean, how do they have all that? Right. And again, at a young age, it didn't hit me until I got to that age where people are picking on you and making fun of you because you don't have those things, or maybe you're not like them, that it started to hit me. And that's really when I started to develop sort of a self-conscious sort of vibe where I was almost embarrassed to admit who I was and where I was coming from. And again, sort of just fighting through that and trying to, build a strong mindset, which was really just facing it and just, getting out there. And I started, ironically enough, trying to become a funny guy, tell jokes and just try to be worthy of friendships. And it actually worked, and it helped to carve my personality as an adult and develop these sort of salesman skills, if you will, or people skills over time. And so I think that environment actually helped set the tone for what became a very successful sales and marketing career. Of course, I wouldn't know at the time, but I'm so thankful that I made it through that, because without that, I don't know that I would have the success I had today. And so those are just some of the struggles, but there's many.
Oh, no, I mean, it's resonating with me because I went through the same stuff. And it was interesting. Did you have a point in your life? I know I did. So I'm just curious if you did, and you may not, but if you had like an epiphany when you're like, okay, enough is enough. Cause I had the same thing. I had the question I asked myself, which was, how can I show them I'm good enough? From the same, childhood bully experiences to wearing hand-me-down clothes to all these things, having really struggling, being embarrassed, being picked on. Was there a period of time where you got enough leverage where you took action and was it the being funny and being the clown, or did it build? Just to elaborate a little bit more, just because this is fascinating for me.
No, I love it, Rod. Thank you so much for asking this, because I don't talk enough about this stuff, and business is business, but this is really where you build, you cut your teeth, right? And yes, there was a pivotal moment. Now, every point in my life where I've had failures or successes, I look at them like platforms to climb the ladder and get me to where I want to go. There was one pivotal moment when I was around 11 years old, and I was jumped by a gang of people, 5 kids. It was 5 of them. Now, I had been jumped before, actually, in my neighborhood, but this was a bad one. I mean, they beat me up so bad that I literally thought I was going to die. Wow. And I remember falling in the house, bloodied and battered, so scared to death, at sort of feeling like I was at that moment of no return, kind of like you can't even imagine unless you're actually beat down by 5 people what it's like, right? Even though not you don't know. Eventually you get through it and realize, wow, the body can take a really serious beating.
Right.
But psychologically, right? That was my low point. And I remember telling my mother that I didn't want to be here. And I didn't even know what that meant. I just said it because I was so fearful, and I didn't know what I didn't know, right?
Right.
And my mother said to me, it's not you, it's them, and all these kind of things. And she encouraged me when she got home. And that was a turning point, because from there, excuse me, I joined martial arts, and I started playing football a couple years later. And I really realized what teamwork was all about, and that it wasn't just the environment you're in, but it's the environment you create, right? The mindset you create, and that will drag you through those adversities. And that was a major turning point for me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What a great story. It just varied in a few seconds. Mine was, there was this girl that I called every single day, that from another high school. She was beautiful. I didn't think I deserved her. And after calling her for months and months, day after day, I found out her mom called me Old Faithful. And I was so humiliated by that. I went to a gym, worked out, got a job at a clothing store, went to a hairstylist instead of the barber college I used to go through. And then I actually knocked on her door, and she didn't recognize me. And then she started calling me. I love that was like one of my epiphany moments. That's why I wanted you to share it, just because
I love it.
And let me ask you this. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd take it back. I think because it was for me, it was such a huge reason for my drive, my motivation, my success. How do you feel about what I just said?
100%, Rod. And actually, I know you're a big Tony Robbins guy. I've been to his seminars 5-6 times, all of them, like the business mastery, all the deep penetration stuff that, you dive in your mindset. And for me, I use all these challenges. I've been through a lot of them in my life. I was a reserve police officer for 5 years. I've been shot at. I've gone through a lot of crazy challenges. And for me, I've always used the fear to drive me, not hold me back. Beyond that 11-year-old age, I used it to drive me and said, what, it's coming. It's part of life. It is what it is. And if I didn't have that, I don't know what else would drive me, because money isn't important to me. Right. I have money. Money's not a driver for me. Right. It's winning and accomplishing and achieving and building and helping and driving the fear behind me.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, as you started, let's shift to real estate for a minute. Sure. Well, mindset may come back in, because that's like crack cocaine talking about that stuff for me. But you talk about Tony. I mean, my God, I followed him around the planet for 20 years, went to 3 or 4 events a year. Just because, there's nowhere you can go, no environment where you can feel that depth of emotion. 1 minute you're crying, 1 minute you're laughing, and you really get in touch with who you are. I don't know if that was like that for you, but it certainly was for me.
Oh, no doubt about it, Rod. And that's something I really appreciate about your podcast, your boot camp, all the things you give to the real estate world, because you really try to tap into that. And that is such a critical part to keep you inspired and motivated at long term, not just short term. Right. And so that's something that I resonate with you and your audience on is just diving into, whether it be hiring someone to help you with that through a mentor program, or just tapping into your own internal psyche to help drive you critical piece of success. And that's something I really appreciate about what you do.
Oh, thank you, buddy. No, I appreciate that. And my phone did a crazy thing there, and we'll just leave it in because it adds some spice to the interview. Good. Anyway, so you became the funny guy. Me, I became kind of adversarial in a way. I didn't get, I finally learned how to fight and all that stuff. I didn't have a father figure either growing up until later in life, but interesting. So let's talk real estate. So you started in single family? Yes.
Yeah. A little bit of land. First piece of property I ever bought was vacant land with power on it.
And this is in LA still, or where?
No, this was in Southern Oregon. I moved up to Oregon, and then and then Washington. Actually, sorry, Washington is where I bought my first piece of property. The Washington State. Okay.
So you bought land. Talk about the progression for us.
Yeah. So I was in the stock market, like we're all taught. Throw your money in there and save on your taxes, and mindlessly. Dabbled in a piece of land, sold it, made a little money, got away from it, bought a single family residence, lived in it, had dinner with a buddy. And we both pulled out napkins. I was diving into stocks. He was diving into real estate. And by the time we were done, he had convinced me, and he just said, you got to be in rentals. And I just hadn't played in that arena. So I got home, read the 5 books and just really hit it hard, built my own spreadsheets before spreadsheets were the thing on, Bigger Pockets and all these places, and went out and analyzed and renovated, swinging the hammers, worked 8 hours a day, then took my trailer to the property and renovated for another 6 hours and then got 4 hours of sleep and so on. Right. Did that every 6 months and then realized I had to scale. And so I started getting into duplexes and into multifamily. So that's the short story.
Okay. So talk about, well, you mentioned mentor, that you had a mentor. How do you feel about mentors in general? Drill down on your thoughts around mentors.
Well, Ron, and I'm sure you can relate to this. I think they're critically important, whether you hire one or surround yourself with people and add value to their lives to where they want to teach you and share for free, let's say. But I think they're critically important because for me, not having really the father figure around or even the environment that would cultivate success, if you will, I think it was critically important to come across someone that I actually worked for and volunteered extra time to be in his world. And as a result, all the knowledge he had just rubbed off on me, right? And then he was willing to share because I would work for free sometimes. And then, of course, he'd end up paying me, but I would say, I'll just come out. I just want to be around you. I just want to learn. And that shaped me to learn the things, we don't know what we don't know, right? And if you don't have mentors or successful people around you, even if you pay to join a program, they're gonna accelerate your knowledge base, which will help you to be successful faster. It's critical.
Yeah. I call it, it's really paying for speed, shortening the learning curve, avoiding mistakes. Of course, I've made every mistake you can possibly freaking make. In fact, we were just talking about this. I did a live stream masterclass today and the last day of it. And one of my students was on there, and at my live events, I say, ask me how I know after I talk about a painful story. And he gave me he's the first one who gave me a t-shirt that says pound, ask me how I know. And now we had them printed and we sell them because it's just so funny.
I love it.
But anyway, so I know why you're driven now. Okay. And that's a question I regularly ask, what's your why? I know the drive, but I don't know the why. What's the why, Chris?
Yeah. So, a couple of things. First of all, I've been a grinder, sales and marketing career and other things. And I had a scare a while back in corporate America where I had won all the awards. I was a staple. I rocked it. I did everything I was supposed to do. I hit all the goals. I grew the business substantially, $20 million plus a year, whatever. And then new management comes in and we want to kind of shift things regardless of what I did the week before. Right. And I never lost my opportunity or anything, but it was a fear that was instilled in me that I hadn't had before because I was a grinder for 20 years. It's like, wait a minute, grinders don't have to fear. They just keep grinding. And as a result, they're almost guaranteed certain things, right? No, not the case. And that's when I realized, this was years ago, but I realized I have to control my own destiny. And so my why was, I want to be released from the shackles of money or corporate America or anyone else dictating my outcome, period, whatever that looks like, right? And that is my why today, but was not my why when I was younger, so right? You know why my why was when I was younger.
Yeah, sure. This was mine. It was to prove the world I mattered, that I was good enough, right? It's the same thing.
Right.
And it's not uncommon. So do you have a family? Is it just you?
It's me and my wife. We're both grinders. We both run several. She has a little side business. She makes ornaments. Cool. It's awesome.
Oh, cool. My wife sells socks. So that's awesome. I love it.
She loves it. Yeah. I mean, she's just great at it. And it's socks. It's awesome. And so we both have that same mindset. Never didn't have the kids. We have the 3 Shar-Peis. Those are our babies.
Oh, no kidding. The raisin dogs. Love it. I had one a long time ago. Well, my wife's in all of my multifamily assets as well. I got to give her credit, but she's got those little pet projects. The socks. Very cool.
Don't get me wrong. Wife spell checks and stuff every once in a while. So she helps me out, right? Gotta have that.
All right. Love it. So talk about, as you had a core job. Well, you talked about getting that wake up call when you thought everything was great. I tell the story about my dad working for Continental Airlines for 36 freaking years. Every time, you could tell a Continental plane because they had the gold tail. And every time one would fly by, he'd put his hand over his heart. He'd make us do it when we were kids. I'm not kidding, because he loved that airline. And after 36 years, he got laid off. So, it ties into what you just said. The only job security is between your ears. It's your skill sets. It's your, your confidence and your ability to take massive freaking action. So, talk about for a minute, we talked about leverage, how I got leverage on myself by being humiliated by that girl's mother. You got leverage by getting your butt handed to, butt kicked that one time. God, 11 years old. That's terrible. And then, so that's, sometimes guys, those of you listening, sometimes you've got to have that leverage so that you push yourself through. And sometimes you can build that leverage. Tony Robbins, by the way, does a great job at one of his events, his premier event, where he has you forward pace yourself to the pain associated with not taking action. It's a very powerful exercise he does called the Dickens process. Fascinating, but it's very powerful. And sometimes you need to take a look in the mirror and say, hey, if I don't change, what's going to happen a year from now, 3 years, 5 years from now, and make it painful to get that, to help build that leverage to take action if you're caught in fear or you're comfortable. So talk about for a minute, if you would, Chris, any sacrifices or what sacrifices you made to get to the success that you're enjoying today?
Yes. So the first thing is that there's always a sacrifice for someone who wants some form of success. I think oftentimes, well, how does Rod do that? I should be able to buy property. And well, what if I buy this seminar? Can I just be successful? It doesn't work that way. I mean, it takes, Walmart wasn't built in a day. I mean, there was a lot of sacrifice. And so for me, the sacrifice has been my time and here's the thing. I've had lots of friends that have bought the Porsches and the fancy houses and the boats and all that. And I live below my means. I drove the same car for 12 years. I used my car payments to buy my first property. I worked 18 hours a day. I still do 6-7 days a week because I love it. And it's what got me here, right? I'll never forget that. But I don't have to, Rod. And that's the cool thing is that I'm still doing it, even though I don't have to put in those kinds of hours, right? And I think that if someone's getting into this space, they have to realize I may have to work literally 2 full-time jobs. I may have to spend my savings on a mentor, right? I may have to invest in myself and literally run a mile faster than I ever thought I could. But what I'll realize is that I can actually run a mile faster than I ever thought I could once I get there. Right. Yeah. So it takes a sacrifice. So for me, it was really time and all the fun things that friends were doing through corporate America, buying all the fancy toys. But I don't miss that stuff. I mean, today I can pay cash for that. So. Right.
No, I mean, that's a beautiful thing. And I remember, we've got so many parallels. Now I did buy all the fancy stuff ultimately, but when I remember having 500 units and I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment that was free because I put this rooftop balloon up once a month. I had a balloon business. I have this shiny penny syndrome. I've started 24 businesses and some have been worth a lot of money. Most have been spectacular, flaming, we call them seminars, not failures. But so you said one thing that I want to circle back to, and that is you love it. And like same for me, I work Sundays, I work my butt off like you do because I freaking love it. So if you're listening and you don't love real estate yet, learn to love it, or for God's sakes, go do something else. And you can associate pleasure with it and learn to love things you don't love, even exercise, believe it or not. But would you agree with me on that one, Chris?
Oh, I would 100%. And can I take it one step further?
Please elaborate.
Here's one thing I would say is there are going to be things you don't love about whatever job you're in or real estate even, right? But I think the key is to take that a step further is to figure out what is it that you don't love and who do you put on your team or who do you surround yourself with that loves that thing, right? Like I've built multifamily assets, or duplexes, let's say, and other properties on my own, but it was a grind. And I can build spreadsheets, but I don't like them. Right. So I went out and I found a killer team. Paul Wilcox, I got to give him a shout out. Guy's amazing. Rob Lutein, amazing at underwriting. My team is solid and they're experts at what they do. And together we rock. Right. So you can be happy and love what you do if you focus on that thing that you love.
And you hire a partner or a line for those things that you don't love, like you just described. You guys have heard me say it time and time again. You focus on what your superpower is, because if you love it, you're going to be great at it. You're going to be passionate about it. And whatever you're not great at, you align. And like you said, you've got someone that's great with analysis on your team, me as well. And most of the successful partnerships I see are that combination. And then maybe somebody with operational experience, project management experience to do asset management or there's so many ways to carve up the team. But if everybody's playing to their strengths, you are like a freaking train on a track. So Love it. By the way, on the mentorship comment, if you guys, my warrior mentorship students are approaching 40,000 doors owned. And I've only been doing this for about 3.5 years. And I'm so proud of that. If you're interested in applying for my warrior mentorship program, text the word crush to 72345. That's crush to 72345. And you can check us out and we will check you out, see if it's a fit.
Yeah. And you know what? I have friends that have been through your program and they rave about what they've learned.
Oh, thank you.
No
buddy.
joke. More people have said, oh yeah, I'm in the Rod Khleif camp, or, oh yeah, I was in this program, or, oh, I learned this, that I've partnered with, or I know in this industry than any other environment for mentoring.
Wow. What a kind thing. Thank you for that, buddy. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So, speak to my listeners that haven't taken action yet for whatever reason, fear, limiting beliefs, comfort, whatever it is. Speak to them. Give them some inspiration or some suggestions as to both how to get started, maybe psychologically, operationally, whatever. Just speak to them for a minute.
Well, Rod, can I share a mantra that helped me to drive me through my successes in life? And this is just something I did to help keep me on track. And it was, I am not a victim of my environment or my circumstances, but I am the results of my actions and my attitude. And today, I don't have time for fear in my life because I'm out achieving my dreams.
Oh,
okay?
I love that.
So I actually trademarked that because
I love that.
For me, I swear to you, I just got goosebumps saying it because that is a very deep personal mantra. And obviously, you know where that comes from.
Oh, sure.
And the mantra helps keep you focused. And even if it's 3 words, it's your 3 words. And so first, develop some sort of a mantra, a phrase, something positive on your wall, on your phone, a reminder. Put a reminder in, let it pop up every week on your phone or whatever. That's one thing just to keep you on the rails, just like goals on the wall and all that. But there's 4 things particularly that I think anybody should start off with. And it's, what inspires you or what's your inspiration, be it a fear in corporate America, right? Poverty, success, an ill family member, whatever inspires you, figure it out. Tony talks about the difference between inspiration, motivation, right? Mm-hmm. You need something to continually inspire you, not temporarily motivate you, right? Mm-hmm. That's critical. The other thing is vision. You've got to have a vision. How do you put your vision plan together? And then the strategy. What's the strategy to execute the vision? And the last thing is, make sure you put the team around that's going to help you execute the first 3, right? That team that can help you fill in those voids of things you don't like so you have sustainability. Those things will keep you going long-term instead of giving up and quitting, right?
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And, you talked about a mantra. And one of the things that we do at my boot camp, which is coming up shortly, is we do an identity statement where we have you identify, because as you know, Tony talks about this, there's no greater power in the human psyche than the need to remain consistent with how we identify ourselves. And guys, for those of you on iTunes, can't see behind him, he's got signs on the wall that say, "You've got this, one life, take risks, love and be loved." Look at my wall. I've got, focus, grind now, play later, that's comfort awesome. Kills. I am success. I'm a business genius. I'm the best in the world at what I do. I am health and energy. I am determination, focus. And one of the things we do at my boot camp is this identity statement. My identity. I, Rod Khleif, am a magnificent, amazing, passionate gift from God. I'm an incredible father, inspiring leader, loving billionaire, and amazing husband that puts smiles on the faces of children, inspires others to excellence, and rocks the world.
Amen,
and we
brother.
will Thank you, buddy. So we will do that with you if you come to my 2-day boot camp, because guys, you need the technical knowledge, but you have to take freaking action with what you learn, right? And so, this is so enjoyable for me to talk about this. And you talk about vision. You need to have that burning desire, like Napoleon Hill talks about. You need a vision for your future. I tell the story being depressed after I built that house on the beach that I worked for 20 years because I didn't have a vision for the future. And so I love that, buddy. And then of course you talk about your team, which is also your peer group. I mean, you guys be very, very selective who you allow to influence you and who you allow to be around you. And so many people default to their coworkers or their people they went to school with. And, for whatever reasons, they can hold you back, fear, jealousy, feeling bad about themselves. And so be very, very selective with that. Good stuff, man. So you talked about your mantra, the things that you do. Why do you think people fail? Well, actually, you know what? Let's ask this question. Talk about in the real estate space. Talk about a failure or a real setback or a real kick in the butt, and what happened and the lesson from it, if anything comes to mind. I know I didn't prepare you for that one.
No, that's okay. Honestly, the only failure I've had, I guess, per se, is in brick and mortar and owning a retail store. And I didn't lose a lot, but I lost a little money and realized retail wasn't my strength. I wasn't passionate about being in retail. I want to create. I want to be the 30,000 foot view while I could be in the retail. It just wasn't my passion. And so that was that. Real estate, I've been fortunate enough to learn from folks like you, Rod, and others that have shared their mistakes and their wins and their losses, to have not lost anything in real estate, knock on wood. And we also follow our numbers, and we're very due diligent on everything we do. So I've been fortunate there. But I have had instances where maybe you didn't anticipate a cost or something that maybe came up, i.e. COVID, right? And CDC form filings and all kinds of other things that you couldn't see coming. Although we underwrote conservatively enough to protect us, those things can come up in real estate, right?
Yeah. So you're obviously a leader. You've developed into an incredible leader. I'm sure you're a real inspiration to your team. What do you think is a characteristic that every leader should have, Chris?
I think you have to have the ability to push through the fear and challenges and just keep going. I think, a lot of folks stop when they get challenged, or they quit, or they give up, or they lose a lot of money, like 500 houses in Colorado or something, and they just move on and say, oh, I can't do that again. But no, you know what? They put their head down, they learn from their mistakes, and they keep pushing. The other thing that is a really good characteristic of a leader is a leader that is willing to get in and do anything and lead by example. Now, if you're a good leader, you don't have to do that long term, but you should be willing to get in and fight through any challenge or adversity so that your team can see that if you're willing to do it, then they'll be willing to do it too. There's a lot that goes into being a leader, but I think you just got to hustle, and you got to.
That's a great answer. There's some great books on the topic. Any books that, what books do you gift the most, Chris, to people? What comes to mind that
number one book I give to everybody is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh yeah.
No doubt. 7 Habits, there's a bunch, but there's another book by Rick Edelman called The Truth About Money. And it's a thick book, and it just goes into all the myths about money and stocks and you name it. It's a thick book, but it's really good to teach you about the economy and money. I don't give that away, but it's a good book.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it. So thank you for that. So if you could give one piece of advice to my listeners, regardless of where they're at in this business, what might it be?
The first thing is identify your value proposition. Right? And get out of your own way. And to simplify it, what does that mean? Well, what is my superpower, right? Like you say, or what is my strength, right? Identify your value and then tell the world about it so you can get people to gravitate to you to help you, right? And then get out of your way. Stop overthinking things. Just go. Start swinging the hammer. Start grinding. Start hustling. Someone's going to come around and go, man, I like this guy or this girl. They're hustling. I want to be part of your world. But if you're not doing that, no one's going to notice you. Stick your head above the clouds.
Love it. Just freaking do it. Like Nike says, love it. So what inspires you, man? What inspires you now?
Now it's really about like building and creating, because in order for me to do what I really want to do in life, which is actually to mentor young people.
I love it.
I wrote a book. It all goes to charity, and I give them away to kids and stuff. And it's about my life story, right? It's not even real estate. Cool. It's more about the challenges and adversities. And money's money, right? If you've set yourself up right, you're going to make plenty of money. But for me, it's really trying to make a difference and help people that were in my shoes when I was younger, because I know what that's like. And if it wasn't for one mentor in my life that set me on the right path, I could have gone down a dramatically different path. And so that's really close to my heart.
No, I love that, buddy. And it's interesting when people apply for my Warrior Mentorship program, I ask them the question, what's your why? And when I hear something that's outside of them, I hear them say, I want to help, like in your case, you wrote a book to help people like you. By the way, what's the name of the book? Where can people get it?
It's called You've Earned It, How I Refused Anything Less Than Success, and You Can Too. and 100% goes to charity. You'll get a kick out of this, Rod. So all the donations go to charity. I'm an enterprise partner with Feeding America. So I'm on their national website, photo, all that stuff indefinitely. But Tony Robbins matches every dollar we donate through his enterprise partnership.
Wow.
So far we've fed over 200,000 people. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow. That's fantastic, cool. Brother. That's fantastic. Thank you. Cool. That is awesome. So, you know, I asked this question on purpose of most of my guests, and there's a reason for it. If you could go back and tell your 20-year-old self something about the real estate business, is there anything you'd do differently?
Absolutely. Get in earlier. Duh. Right? Like get in earlier.
They need to hear this, man. That's why I ask this question every freaking time. It's like, do it now. Go. Yeah. What else?
Rod, when you first start making money, you're blowing it on like VIP rooms and watches and stuff. But what you should be doing is buying like a Rod Khleif program and having him teach you how to turn that Rolex into 10 Rolexes or whatever, right?
That's funny.
I mean, that's critical. So get started early and just go.
Yep. And my you know, addendum to that would be go bigger, faster. You know, it took me 2,000 houses to get that memo. Don't let it be that long for you. You know, houses are fun. They're fun. I would call them fun. But it takes so freaking long to get to where you want to go. Chris, this has been a real treat, brother. I hope we can meet one day soon. I love the energy and the passion and the kind words. You know, I think we should definitely have you on the show again, and maybe just do real estate, not just talk about mindset. But guys, you know how I feel about this. 80 to 90% of your success in anything is freaking mindset and psychology. 10 to 20% the technical stuff. Come spend 2 days with me at my boot camp. You'll get all the technical stuff. Okay, 16 to 18 hours. Price is ridiculously reasonable, nothing being sold there. So, you know, if you want to do that, text multifamily to 72345 and we'll send you the information. It's coming right up February 20th and 21st. Thanks for being on the show, my friends. Great to meet you.
That's awesome, Rod. Hey, I really appreciate the opportunity to share with your audience. It's just been a pleasure. And thank you for inspiring me for so long. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. That's kind of you to say. Thanks.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our Warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our Warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411. That's mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411.